Hey guys, welcome back to some more reviews. The Explorer 4 here, the Horror Boy. Welcome back. And today, we're going to be getting to, surprisingly, my new favorite John Carpenter movie. Yes, and this is a director that I literally have seen no bad movies from. Even the ones that I don't really get into that much, I don't think are terrible. Like, for me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Prince of Darkness, but I don't hate that movie. And this movie really surprised me because I really didn't have that many plans to see it because I heard it was an action movie, and I don't really watch a lot of action movies too much. And some of my opinions on like the classic action movies are a little crazy. Like I'm not really the biggest fan of Die Hard. I just am not. I'm not a really big fan of Cliffhanger. I know there's a lot of people that love that movie. I wasn't really into that one. But I do love certain action movies like the Rambo films and RoboCop. Those are definitely ones that I think are some of my favorites out there. But I kind of looked this movie over because I just looked at like, it's just an action movie. And I have no clue why I had that mentality. And that was years ago, by the way. That was years ago, back when I was like first really get into horror movies or heard about this movie, and I didn't see it for a while, and I finally checked it out, the Scream Factory DVD, and I must say this is my favorite John Carpenter movie so far, and that is, of course, They Live, which came out in 1988, gets a 7.3 on IMDb, and directed by John Carpenter. And I believe this is the film. Was this after Prince of Darkness? I think Prince of Darkness came out. Was it before this or after? I can't remember. It was 87. But yeah, Scream Factory DVD, which is a wonderful DVD. You have some decent features on there. Actually, you have some pretty good features. And not only do you have, of course, like every Scream Factory release, you have this reverse cover, and you can have this cover too, which is the custom-made one, which they even changed the back of it. So yeah. I'll probably just leave the old school poster on there because I really like it. It's really cool looking. So I'll just put that back in there. But yeah, They Live, starring Roddy Piper and Keith David. As well as many other actors in there that I kind of seen spread throughout that I also really thought did a great job. But yeah, They Live. I would have never thought in a million years this would be my favorite John Carpenter movie because I've seen so many of his films that I absolutely love. I love The Fog. I love Halloween. I love In the Mouth of Madness. I don't hate Prince of Darkness, but I don't love it, but I still think it's a decent movie. Really love vampires. Love Christine a lot. Very, very well done film. So the fact that this movie, is my favorite John Carpenter movie is just surprising me. But we'll get into more of my reasons of why I think it's my favorite film from him. But the plot, basically, you have this character played by Roddy Piper, and he is a drifter, kind of wanders into this new town. The character's name is Nada, and he wanders into this new town, and when he gets there, he's homeless, he's struggling with money, he's got a job doing construction, and he meets Keith David, who is this character who is also homeless, and the money that he does make, he sends home to his family, and they go to this sort of homeless area where all the homeless people kind of go to get food and shelter and stuff, and while they're there, they find out some weird things are going on, particularly the Roddy Piper character finds out that there's this church, the people go to meet up there, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. Before you know it, there's police invading this camp and killing people and, beating people up, and he's trying to figure out what's going on, and he finds these sunglasses that when he puts on, he sees the world for what it really is. There's been these aliens that you find out taking over this area, and they look like people, but they're actually aliens. And basically the movie goes on from there. I mean, he teams up with Keith David, and they take on these aliens. You have a lot of action, you have a lot of thrills, great, well-shot sequences, and we'll get more in-depth as I go along with the review, but this movie really blew me away. This film I absolutely love. I love everything about this movie. I think the movie has a great soundtrack. You know, that dun, 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 dun. Love that. I love the main theme song of the movie. And the Alan Howarth soundtrack of the entire film is just filled with great usage of many different kinds of instruments and different unique sounds. It's also just a very unique score amongst all the John Carpenter movies. It sounds very different, especially also it sounds different than another Alan Howarth score. It just sounds different, it feels different. I love that. Such a different, unique score. But it also still is a very awesome soundtrack and score. So I love the music. I love the acting in this movie. I mean, Roddy Piper, rest in peace. He's a legendary wrestler. Huge fan of Roddy Piper. But I also thought in this movie, he did a really well done job acting. And he really surprised me. I thought in this movie, he's probably my favorite wrestling actor. I would put him above The Rock. Like, I really was blown away by his performance in this movie because it feels, it feels legitimate. He's really going for it. He's acting. He's got the charisma as the lead. He can be a badass, but he can also be a character that you feel sympathy for because he's a guy that believes, I believe in America. I believe that if we work hard and we achieve things, we can, we're all in a rut right now, but everybody is. And I believe if we work hard, we can get through it. And it's like you believe it. It's not cheesy. It's not hokey. You believe his dialogue and his character. Very, very well done. And I also love Keith David's character, Frank. This guy who's kind of down in his luck and kind of hating life. And Roddy Piper is pretty much trying to help him. They talk about life. They become friends. Very, very good friendship there. I mean, one guy who's trying to look on the lighter side of life, the other guy who's just struggling with life, and a lot of their conversations are very interesting. So yeah, the cast. I mean, you also have Meg Foster playing another lead, Holly, which I thought was a great character, where it's a character you really don't know if she's good or bad, and when you do find that she is bad, it's really surprising. And she's also just very, very beautiful. And she's a great actress. I've seen her in plenty of films. She does a great job in this movie. You also got George Flower in this movie, George Buck Flower. I thought he did a good job. Peter Jason. Just a lot of these characters I thought, and actors also, a lot of them just did a great job in their roles. A lot of good performances here. And I love just certain scenes in this movie. I can also talk about the cinematography, the camera work, the direction by John Carpenter is all just nailed in this film. Certain scenes that I just can and always will remember. Like the scene where he puts the sunglasses on and he reads these books and every book page is like obey and no imagination, no independent thought, any of this stuff. And then he takes the glasses off, it's the magazine. And apparently the way they did that scene was they would just copy the shots over to a black and white camera and they would just remember where their shot was and they would just put a new book in there with the new pages, but it works so well and it's such an old school technique, but it still works perfectly in the film. And he puts sunglasses on and the billboard says obey, and then one of them says what was it, I forgot what else the other one said, but he puts the glasses on, takes them off, and it says different things. That was all done very well. And also when he puts on these sunglasses, you can see these aliens. And the way they're designed, the design of the aliens, that looked pretty cool. They were very original designs. I know this is based off of a comic book that John Carpenter read. Kind of took that comic book and gave it more of a kind of a different twist. Which I think it's very much inspired from the comic book because the Nada character is from the comic book. And, I just think the movie has a great usage of lighting and it's a good blending. I think this is why it's my favorite John Carpenter movie. It blends all the genres of film together so well. You know, you got your comedy in there, you got your action there, you got your thrills in there, you got your little bits of horror in there, and little bits of suspense in there. You got one-liners and explosions and fight scenes, but you also have deep messages and, you know, some really good commentary of the film. And I think that's also a thing that I absolutely love about this movie is the commentary of it. The commentary on, you know, the time this was the time of, you know, Reagan was in the office and the rich were becoming richer and the poor were becoming poorer. And I think it's a movie that's aged pretty much like wine. I mean, it's just gotten better with time. I mean, this movie is really relatable to nowadays because, you know, think about it. I mean, how many times have you thought, man, like, there's a lot of homeless people out there. There's a lot of people that struggle. There's a lot of people that just keep on getting richer and richer, and the poorer just struggle. It's hard to... It's just hard. It also talks about, you know, people, like humans, you know, they're always trying to be straight, trying just to get to the top, to get the money, to get the fame, to get the glory. It's a great commentary. It's very relatable to this time in particular, and it's a relatable thing to all times. I mean, it's a good commentary on human nature, and also just a commentary on all kinds of things. I love this movie's message. I really do, and I appreciate the fact that this movie and the script was able to touch on those things, because not a lot of movies do that. You know, not a lot of movies try to take a look at those things, those issues, but this movie did, and I really appreciate that. There's just certain scenes that I just thought were fantastic. There's a fight scene between Roddy Piper and Keith David that I just thought was one of the best fight scenes I've seen in the movie. I mean, every hit, every move, they put wrestling in there, they put boxing in there, they put, you know, street fighting in there. Everything you could want into a fight, they put in there. They also put some humor in there. There's a moment where Keith David tries to break a beer bottle because Roddy Piper accidentally hits his windshield with the board, and he breaks the bottle, the whole bottle just shatters. He's like, shit! And Roddy Piper just laughing at him, and then he tackles him, and they fight, and, you know, Roddy Piper tries to kick him down in the groin, but he's like, really? And then he punches him. Just the whole scene, I thought, was well shot, well choreographed, and just a fight scene that I found myself going like, oh, you know, oh my god, like, you know, a lot of the hits and slams and shit, all very, very impactful. I also love the very surprising scenes of the movie. I mean, there's a scene where Roddy Piper and Meg Foster are talking, and, you know, she's going to turn the TV on. He's like, no, the TV, they're on the TV sending these messages. And she just breaks a bottle over his head. And a good stunt where a real guy falls out of this giant building all the way down. I think it's actually Roddy Piper falling. That's him doing the stunt. Very, very amazing stunt. It's just amazing stunt. And he rolls down the hill. And there's also a great scene where there's pretty much this rebellion, you could say, this people are going to fight back against these aliens, and they're getting ready, they're getting their guns ready, they're getting ready to go out and fight these creatures. You know, and you think everything's going well, and then the bad guys break in. And then that's the thing about this movie, is that they really make these aliens great bad guys, great villains. You know, you hate these villains because they go in, they're just shooting the shit out of this place. People are getting blown away. It's gory. It's graphic. And you feel bad because these are all characters you care about. And you're just seeing them get slaughtered by these alien creatures. And you just feel bad for the characters. And, you know, it's just a movie that you really care about the characters. You care about the story. You're engaged, entertaining, energetic. The action scenes, the one-liners. Of course, you have the legendary one-liners from this movie. I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum. Great line. Fun line. Awesome fucking line. And it's just fun. It's a fast-paced movie. It's not long at all. The story is just very unique and original. The twists of the movie, like where you found that Meg Foster is pretty much a villain. She's pretty much betrayed the human race. Really, really enjoyed that. If there's any nitpicking I have of this movie, it's probably the ending, the very ending. The way the movie ends, I really didn't care for. Where you have Keith David getting shot, and I was like, really? And it's like, then Roddy Piper gets shot, but he ends up disrupting the signals to the word now the aliens won't have any more disguises. And he kind of goes out, with a bang because this helicopter goes by, he's flicking it off, and he ends up shooting the Meg Foster character with this hidden gun he has, and he pretty much sacrificed himself to save the planet. And I actually thought that was a pretty well done idea, but it's kind of an ending that's kind of a bummer because they die, and I guess the only good thing is the aliens. The aliens are now they aren't disguised anymore. But I'm like, still, there's probably more aliens than humans, right? Because there's a lot of them on this planet. So it's like, dude, it's still a grim situation. Because now you got Roddy Piper and Keith David both probably dead, or maybe they were dead. I don't know. The movie made not a lot of money. I mean, I think what it was it made a decent amount of money when it first opened, but for some reason it got taken out of the movie theaters very fast, which was strange. Very, very strange that happened because the movie apparently got pulled from theaters. I mean, it really didn't get pulled like completely, but it really, distribution kind of got taken down. I don't even know why, to be honest, but it did. And unfortunately, the movie didn't make a lot of money. Made back its budget. It wasn't a bomb or anything, but it wasn't really a huge, massive hit, which is really a shame. But yeah, I just thought the villains of the movie, these alien creatures, they're pretty much these rich people, and they have these meetings, and I love this movie because if you notice, a lot of movies nowadays don't really focus on. That's why I love Joker as well. Joker and this, and I really enjoy Graveyard Shift. They focus on the middle class or even the lower class, and I wish more movies would focus on that because not everybody out here, is driving fancy cars and living in mansions in Beverly Hills. A lot of people are struggling. And I think you need movies like this where there's commentary on that. The people are homeless. We're talking about how, there's the one golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. Great line right there. And then just talking about life and talking about how it's unfair. And even in Graveyard Shift, they're working this job. They're working hard, they're getting paid very little. And you just relate with that. At least I do, because I work very hard to earn everything. And, I love movies that, I just love that. Like, dude, these people are normal people, doing their jobs, working hard. And in this movie, they're homeless. They're just trying their best at life. And, they're unfortunately just, having to climb that ladder of life. And, it's just it's more relatable that way because a lot of people do go through that. And I just love, the discussions and dialogue, and I thought Keith David did a wonderful job in this movie. This is probably one of my favorite performances by Keith David, which he's never done a bad performance, so, I think he's great in every movie, but this is one of my favorite performances by him. Just a lot of just well done scenes, fight scenes, action sequences, practicality of it, the fact that they weren't using a ton of CGI in this movie, probably really no CGI, just very well done. Very, very well done. And it's pretty cool that, I know on this DVD they have like interviews with John Carpenter, which I think he says he's pretty proud of the movie. Keith David did a interview. He's pretty proud of it. They did an interview with the stunt coordinator and Alan Howarth, and they're pretty proud of it. Trailers, TV spots, still galleries, deleted scenes. You also got a commentary with John Carpenter and Roddy Piper, which one day I will check out. But yeah, man, it's my favorite John Carpenter movie now because it's such a perfect movie, and it covers every genre. Like, yeah, I love horror movies, but this covers every genre to a T. The action is great. Fight scenes are there. comedy. It's funny. It makes you laugh. It's great one-liners. You know, where Roddy Piper's like, "Holy shit, that's like putting, makeup on a pig," or, whatever he says. Or he looks at this one lady, he's like, "You are really fucking ugly." And he's like, "Look, take the glasses off, looks like me. Put them back on, looks like shit." It's just like, the dialogue is hilarious. And the one-liners. And then when it is serious, the serious dialogue, the serious moments are great. Characters that when they did die, like when Keith David got shot, and I don't do this very often, I literally was like, "No!" Like I yelled out, I was like, "No! Fuck no! Why?" I never do that because most of the time the characters, if they die, it's either you see it coming or you kind of get an idea maybe they are gonna die. But here it's just so sudden. And I wish it didn't happen because I really do like the character, but it does suck the fact that happened to the character. But the fact that you care about the character so much that I was just like, no, like when he got shot, I was like, "No, why?" So that was very cool. And when Roddy Piper got shot, I was kind of like, "No," But it's got great characters, wonderful acting. This is probably my favorite performance from a wrestler onto a film. It really is. Roddy Piper in this movie just blows it away. That's why I'm surprised he didn't really do any more movies. I mean, he did. I know he did a couple other ones, and then he did one called Pro Wrestlers vs. Zombies, which also has I think Matt Hardy's in that, and Kurt Angle, and Jim Duggan. There's a lot of wrestlers in that one, but yeah, Roddy Piper just blows it out of the water. Amazing performance by him. It is just wonderfully shot, wonderfully directed. The horror elements are very effective. The thrills are there. It's fun, energetic, and entertaining. It's just the full package, man. It is just a wonderful movie. If there's only one nitpick I have, it's the very end, because the ending is it's a very dark ending. I'm not really a fan of the ending, but not all endings can be sunshine and rainbows. I understand, but the ending was just a little too grim for me. But it's a movie that just does a lot of things right, and it's just my favorite John Carpenter movie so far. I absolutely love this movie. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 for me. It's great. If you haven't seen this movie yet, definitely see it. This for me was a very important lesson in don't judge a book by its cover. Because I was saying for a while, I was like, "Nah, it's an action movie. I don't know about this. I don't know about Escape from New York and Big Trouble in Little China. I don't know about Escape from Precinct 13. I'm just, I'm a horror guy. I like horror movies. I don't want to see action movies." And I'm telling you what, I regret saying that. Because now that I have seen this movie, this is my favorite John Carpenter movie so far. But yeah, anyways, guys, a 9 out of 10 for me in this movie. I absolutely love this film. Great time, great watch, and very entertaining. But anyways, guys, definitely let me know your guys' thoughts on They Live in the comments below. If you haven't seen it yet, see it. See it, bro. It's awesome. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this review. Hope you enjoyed. And this is just an awesome movie. But anyways, guys, once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. The Explorer of Horror is out. Have a good night, guys. Thanks again.